So today, or this week is focused on yoga for grief. So I did and ah whether or not to focus a week on grief because it is a topic that is so incredibly sensitive and so incredibly personal. But I felt it was really important that I give a few tools that I think can really help, and I know that my yoga mat, or wherever you go to do yoga or restorative yoga, is a place which can be very safe and very protected, and a place where you can go to laugh or cry or release or whatever it is that you need to do. The last year has been unbelievably hard for so many across the world, and grief has been at the forefront, as has community and kindness. And there are many things, not positives, that have come out of COVID. I don't look at it like that, but you have to look at the good in times of challenge. But amidst that, there has been a huge amount of grief. It has touched my family directly, and I know it has touched thousands of other families too. So today, and most importantly, of course, grief has not just been around for the last year. Grief has been and continues to be and will always be in our lives, just as joy is. So it is an emotion that is there, and it's a multi-layered emotion. So, of course, the last year in COVID has been incredibly difficult, but grief goes beyond that as well. So I'm talking to those people who have lost people beyond and outside of COVID. But I'm going to go now and do a practice, a sequence that is really a sequence that you can come to when you just need a little bit of gentle restoration to your body. What yoga does is it helps to process and it helps to heal. And it does that because we hold in our bodies, we hold in our muscles, we hold in the fibres of our being, in the connective tissues. We hold emotions, we hold stresses, and we hold grief. Grief is a form of a trauma, and that is held in our body. So yoga helps in a very safe way to process that emotion. So you might find that there are releases, but in the sequence that I'm showing you, they're not too open. There's a little bit of openness, which I'm doing intentionally to encourage that gentle release and also belief and confidence back into the world. But there's also a lot of very restorative coming inwards, but in a very safe way. So bring the bolster. The key to this is props, but to start off, we're going to come into just Sukhasana, so easy pose, and breath, incredibly important. Last week was about immunity, and Laurent gave us a wonderful workshop around breath and the importance of breath for immunity. But breath is incredibly important for a whole manner of different emotions, and grief is certainly one of them. When we're in grief, when we're sad, we tend to hold our breath, we don't tend to think, we don't tend to come into our bodies and breathe deeply. But that breathing deeply is incredibly important, and it's a very kind way of helping the body to start working again. So if you come into a seated position, if that's comfortable for you, you can rest your hands initially just on your knees and just take a moment to come onto the mat, or wherever you are. You don't need to be on a mat. You can be on a cozy carpet by your bed, or somewhere that you can go to where you know it's going to be quiet. You can close your eyes and just take a few moments to connect to your breath. Take a few inhales and exhales through just gently pursed lips, and really just let the exhales go right to the end. And after a few of those breaths, you can then bring one hand onto your belly and one hand onto your heart. And this will encourage you into a place of deep breathing. And as you inhale, feel the lift into your bottom hand. And you can imagine a colour in your mind, a colour that is calm and safe. And you just feel that colour very gently radiating through your hands into your body. And as you inhale, feel that breath going deep down and then rising up to your heart. Rising up to your heart. And you can stay here for 2 or 3 minutes if it's comfortable. If you find that's too much, which it might be if your emotions are really heightened, then just come with your hands on your knees to a few breaths and then come straight into the sequence. Then you can come back to it. So the first one, we're just going to reach forward. So I'm in Sukhasana here, so my legs are crossed. I have a bolster, but you can use cushions here, you can use books, or you can just let your head hang. But with restorative yoga, we're looking for props, we're looking for our body to be softened and supported by materials, ideally soft ones, at any point possible. So you're just going to bring, I'll show you the bolster of those you can't see, you're just going to bring your arms out and then just let your head rest. Let your arms, your shoulders relax, your arms relax, your core relax, and you'll just feel a lovely stretch up your back. And it will bring your gaze, I was talking about the inward gaze, but in a very safe way. And you can stay in each of the poses I'm showing you, you can stay in them for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, however long you want. You can also move your legs halfway and just come back down. And then I'm going to bring you into your child's pose. And again, this can be supported, extended, or just normal. So just normal child's pose is like this. Extended, you have your arms out. And supported, again, I'm going to use a bolster, but you can use cushions. Bring it right in close and allow your forehead can come down, or you can bring cheek to the mat, cheek to the bolster rather. And again, mindful of the core, you're relaxing each part of your body. If you do come cheek to bolster or cheek to cushion, just make sure that you turn your cheek to the other side halfway through. This pose, any pose where you're coming forward, as I keep saying, will make you feel very safe, but also your head and your heart are in line, which I think I mentioned last week, so less pressure on your heart. Your heart is also cushioned and supported. And then bring yourself up, and we're going to come into a very gentle chest opener. So you keep your legs, your knees mat width apart, place your hands down behind you, fingers pointing forward, and then open at the chest. And your head can either be wherever it wants to be. I don't find it too comfy going too far back, so I just have my gaze up. And then you come forward. We're going to come into a supported Uttanasana, Ragdoll. So again, I've got toys, but you can use whatever you have. You can build up the cushions. So bend your knees,
Let your head rest. You can root down between your feet. So your legs here are your strength. But your head, your neck, your shoulders, your back, your core is relaxed. And this is very cooling, calming, hydrating of the mind. Helps to quieten it. So if you've been feeling very intense emotions, this will just help to bring you down, to ground you. And then rising up, I'm going to bring you down onto the mat again. Into Janu Sarasana. So you bring one leg out, the other leg into your thigh. Grab hold of a couple of cushions. Let your leg, your foot relax, and just bring your head down. You can have your arms down by the side. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can come into, that's a more restorative, and yin. So yin, where your muscles, with yin you're looking to have the target area muscles relaxed, so you're working into the connective tissue, which is why I would say keep that leg relaxed. If you want to come into more of a stretch, you can flex this outwards leg and bring yourself down with a straighter back. With yin, you want to have more of a curved back, because again you're working into the connective tissues. But it's really up to you. You can also place a book or a block under your sit bones here. And if you don't feel that you're getting into your hamstring, if you are looking for the stretch, you can put a book under your ankle as well. And then you can come and stretch on the other side. And again, restorative version, leg relaxed and just resting the head. You will still feel a stretch into your hamstring, because that is what that pose is doing. But just be mindful, whenever you're stretching the hamstring, you don't want to feel it too high near your glutes. If you are, bend that leg. And then we'll come into, so this is a yin and a hatha. It's incredibly anchoring and grounding. I actually love the yin pose of this, because it stretches your entire backside of your body, so all along your hamstrings and up into your spine muscles. Works into the bladder and kidney meridians, which are relating to fear and anxiety, so that's also never going to be a bad thing when you're working with really deep emotions like grief. So again, cushions onto your legs. Relax the legs, arms down by your side, forehead down, core relaxed, and your back is bent here. And I'm moving very quickly through these poses, but as I said before, you can stay in them for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's really up to you. They're very, very safe poses. And then you can come out. And then we're going to come into a great pose. I love this one because it's called Uttanasana. It's just got a silly name. So this is a yin pose as well, and it works into the lungs and large intestines, which are the organs associated with grief. So it works into those meridian channels, and the large intestine, it works into the arm and down the side of the leg. So that's why Uttanasana works. Probably be clearest, I'm just trying to think if you can see me from there, but I'll just explain it. So you're lying down, your arms are extended above your head, and then you bring your legs and your arms to one side, and then lift the outer leg over and grab onto the wrist, and feel a stretch the whole way down your side body. And then you move onto the other side, lifting up the outer leg and gently, and if you can, really relax into this pose. It may be that you do feel a sense of release because of the meridian channels that you are working into. And then come back to center. And then supported fish. So this again is more of an opening, and I have put a couple of chest openers in because as you're processing and moving through the different stages associated with grief, as you are starting to move forward, it will be good to start gently opening yourself up and knowing that you feel safe and confident in that place. But it's all about going gently. So you can place, I've got a brick here, but you can place a cushion if you really just want to be soft on yourself, or you can take a book and you place it along your spine. I think I've done supported bridge before in one of our weeks. And then you rest your head back and your arms down by your side. And that feels really lovely. It's wonderful to open up your airways as well, and you can really breathe big lion breaths here. And then moving you off, going to come into a supported twist. Bring out the bolster again. These can be cushions or pillows. So it's a supine twist, but with a block. So you bring your right leg over your left, bolster or pillows right up into your hip. And you can essentially hug the cushions or hug the bolster. So if you're feeling you just need to lie down and release those tears, I really feel that this pose is wonderful because you can hug. You do feel incredibly safe. And it's a twist, so it's working into that vagus nerve, which I've spoken about before, the very restful, calming nerve, but it's doing so in a very gentle way because twists can be quite intense. And then you can lift yourself up and come into a twist on the other side, but I won't do that because otherwise I'll have my back to you. And then to finish, you can come into your Shavasana, so your finishing relaxation. You can cover yourself with a blanket. You can get a big cushion. You can place it onto your belly just to really help ground you. Or you can take a bolster or a cushion and place it under your knees to really support your back. And you can have your arms down by your sides or come back to where you started and bring your hand to your belly and your chest and come back to that place of deep inhalation and deep exhalation. If you do that, do the deep inhales and exhales for a couple of minutes or less than that, but importantly, do just let the breath go after that and just let your body come into effortless rest. And you can stay here for as long as you like until you feel that you're able to lift yourself off the mat and onto your day. So hopefully that's a little sequence that you can go to
really as and when you need to. It's, it's a sequence that you can do at any point, but it's particularly there for when you do feel vulnerable or fragile, or just needing to go somewhere which is going to really ground and help your body come into a place of process and healing. I'd love you to join me on Wednesday. I've got the most wonderful woman coming to speak for 15 minutes or so. Sorry, I can see I've gone over. She's someone that I met, gosh, where are we now? 12 years ago, I think. I'll share more about her when I post tomorrow, and of course when I introduce her on Wednesday, but I'm so thrilled that she's joining me. And as I said in my post yesterday, she was really the only person who I'd have felt comfortable speaking about grief to, and I really think that, she's a little gem. So really excited to have her, and thank you for joining me. Have a good, happy day wherever you are. Stay safe, and I will see you on Wednesday.